Welcome back to another episode of the Emerging Wealth Podcast. I'm your host, John Boyd, and I'm so stoked that you're here today because we're talking about an edgy topic. And this topic might actually rub some people the wrong way because you're probably going to think, how is this even a question? And that question is, can you actually save too much in your 401k or other retirement accounts? Hey everyone, this is John Boyd, host of the Emerging Wealth Podcast. Thanks for joining us and making us a part of your week. Before we dive in, if you're finding value in our content, please give us a like. This helps us reach more listeners and share quality financial education. Next, I'd recommend visiting our website at www.modernwealth.com. Head on over to our Learning Center. It's packed with videos and articles designed to help you optimize your wealth. While you're there, consider subscribing to our newsletter. Thanks again for being with us. Now let's dive into this week's episode. Today's episode is going to be all about whether prioritizing 401k savings or other forms of retirement savings can actually throw off other financial goals that you have, like saving for a home, saving for the kids' college, paying off debt, whatever it may be. What if supercharging your retirement savings is actually holding you back from life's other ventures? So let's dive right into it. We've all heard about the importance of saving for retirement, and it's for good reason. Half of American households don't have any retirement savings. There are millions of Americans that will be behind in retirement if they don't prioritize saving for retirement in the future immediately. And the reality is most financial planners will tell you to max out your 401k contributions to secure that financial future. So I want to make it extremely clear that I'm not trying to diminish the value of putting money away for retirement. There are plenty of people that need to have that be priority number one. However, there's plenty of people that are making good household income and have the financial flexibility to put money away for other goals that they may find more important. So this episode is mainly directed at these folks because I find that these individuals can often fall into a trap of hoarding away every last dollar that they save and trying to put it into a retirement savings vehicle like a 401k and leaving a lot less left in other accounts. So to demonstrate my point, I'm going to tell you a story. And this story is about a pair of clients that I've worked with in the past. These individuals were married, had two really young kids, and both were making really good money. They lived in Seattle, which is a very high cost of living area, and they were renting a house. When I started working with them, they expressed two primary goals. Number one, they wanted more than anything to actually own a home. Number two, they wanted to fully fund a private school education at the high school and college level for their children. And when they came to me, they felt as if, man, I don't know where all this money is going. We make well over six figures. We don't have any debt. We track our budget and we feel like we aren't overspending. What should we do? What are we doing wrong? So as we started to work together, we started to dive into their income, pay stubs, tax returns, etc. And we found out that they were maxing out their 401ks, taking advantage of the mega backdoor Roth feature that their 401k plans had. Plus, they were putting money away in a normal backdoor Roth IRA, which is $6,500 a person in 2023. And if you don't know what those strategies are, check out our YouTube channel or go to www.modernwealth.com. We have tons of content on the mega backdoor Roth and just a standard backdoor Roth so that you can get the inside scoop on how those strategies work. But bottom line is, in 2023, we're talking almost $150,000 in retirement savings alone among the two of them. These folks' balance sheet was like 95% retirement money and like $20K in a savings account. It was crazy. So on one side, incredibly awesome that they have the income to be able to do such aggressive retirement savings. But on the flip side, they didn't even have a sufficient emergency fund set up, let alone any money set aside towards saving for a home or their kids' education. I mean, they did absolutely no other savings other than for retirement. And so as we went more in depth in the planning process, they started to express more goals of theirs. And so it got to the point where I just said, look, I want you to list out what these goals are. Just rate them. Tell me what is most important for you to save for. And so this is what they told me. They said, number one, it's that home, right? We really want to own that home. That's our priority number one. Number two, we want to save for the kids' college. Number three, one of the spouses was kind of burnt out and was thinking about maybe taking a year off, being at home with the kids. Maybe they do a little bit more travel during that year, but they were thinking about taking a year-long sabbatical, wanted to save up for that. And then priority number four was retirement. The reality was that they both enjoyed their work. I mean, they really didn't have desires to retire early, but they just hoarded money away in retirement because that's what they thought they were supposed to do. I mean, after all, when you go on places like Reddit or read kind of generic flow charts online on how you should save, I mean, that's the general advice. You got extra savings, just stuff it away in retirement accounts. This is the point that I'm trying to bring home with this story, with this young couple. Life is all about balance. And that's true in really every element of life when you think about it. And it's no different with retirement savings. You can still save for retirement and have a very successful retirement, and yet save for other goals that are perhaps more of a priority over the short term. So that's exactly what the guidance was for this particular couple. It was, hey, you're doing great for retirement savings, but you guys can afford to dial it back a little bit and put some money away for some of those main priorities that are in focus. So we ended up, number one, ensuring that they had more than $20K set aside because that was a woefully inadequate emergency fund based off their lifestyle. We started putting money away in a brokerage account and set up a 529 for the kids. And when we did all the math and financial analysis, I mean, all the numbers and data supported that they could dial it back a little bit from a retirement savings standpoint and be just fine, right? They could still retire when they wanted to. They could fund all their goals that they had over the short term without just locking it all away for retirement. And so over time, we got them dialed in with a better savings plan, and they started to feel more confident about what they were saving for. So I would encourage you to think about taking a similar approach. And that approach is being intentional about where your money is going and how much of it is going there. 401ks are awesome. Saving for retirement is awesome. But how much of your money should really go there based on your specific goals? Now, if you're listening to this and you're someone who perhaps doesn't have any goals like buying a home, setting up college savings for kids because you don't have kids, you don't really care about a vacation or sabbatical, right? You don't really care about any of that. You just got extra money and you just stuff it in a 401k because you got nothing else to do for it. I would encourage you to have this perspective. So number one, if you are young, let's say 20s, 30s, maybe in your 40s, life is constantly changing. One second, you might not feel like you're saving for anything special, and then boom, your dream house pops on the market, and it's well within your budget, and you want to pounce on it. Putting away money in a brokerage account or somewhere similar could help you make this purchase a reality. But if it's all largely in a retirement plan, you would either have to take it and accept taxes and potentially the penalties associated with it, or you're just going to have to sit that opportunity out. Diversifying your savings approach and having balance could have allowed you in this scenario to buy that home. The second perspective that I want you to think about here is while we're talking about diversifying your savings approach, I think you will thank yourself at retirement if you have a nice balance between retirement accounts like a traditional IRA or 401k, some Roth money, and some non-retirement money. I can't tell you how many retirees I've worked with who felt strapped for cash. They might be worth $1 million, but if all that money is in a 401k and they're retired and need money, that could be a tough pill to swallow if you're pulling money out exclusively from a pre-tax retirement account. I for the life of me, cannot find the study. And I'm probably going to butcher some of the details on it. So bear with me. But there was this study done in the UK. And the study was attempting to determine the psychological impacts of retirement from a financial standpoint. And part of the study, they interviewed retirees and wanted to gain their perspective on how they felt on their savings. And what the study found was folks that had more money in an easily accessible account, like a savings or checking account, right? Let's say it was several $100,000, actually felt more secure than someone who had maybe like $5,000 or $10,000 in checking, but millions in a retirement account, right? Even though the person with the retirement account is significantly much more wealthy than the person that just has money in like a checking or savings account, psychologically, the other person felt better. And the reason for that is that we in our minds view our finances in buckets, right? Our retirement money, we carve out in a bucket and we know that we're not supposed to touch it. But once you get to actual retirement, that mentality really doesn't change for a lot of people, right? You still don't want to touch it. And so I find all the time people with millions of dollars in pre-tax retirement accounts feeling broke because they don't have a nice balance of non-retirement money or Roth money. So again, I apologize if I butchered that study, but bottom line is, even if you don't have any short-term goals, putting away some money in a non-retirement account and having that balance and diversification of retirement buckets could give you a lot more flexibility financially and psychologically later on than you think. So bottom line, guys, creating a savings plan is all about balance and customizing it to your specific needs. As much as it would be nice if there was a generic flow chart for everyone to follow and it would be 100% correct all the time, it's just not the reality. And with that being said, if after listening to this, if saving for retirement is your number one goal and that's all you can think about and all your other financial bases are covered, then go for it. Be super aggressive about saving in your 401k, right? If you're loaded and you can afford to save in a brokerage account and do your mega backdoor Roth, right? And you can max out every avenue possible, go for it, right? But the reality is that that's not what most people's positions are. Oftentimes we have to find that balance. And I'm telling you, it's okay to find that balance. As a reminder, everything on today's podcast was general education only and not deemed to be specific investment, tax, or legal advice. If you need specific guidance, you can reach out to us at www.modernwealth.com. That's modern spelled with no vowels, wealth.com. It's been a lot of fun, guys, and I'll see you next time.